Hi, I'm Jessica Buettner here at the College of Menominee Nation with Kimberly Blaeser, a Anishinaabe award-winning writer. She's here with her book, Absentee Indians and Other Poems. And I just wanted to ask you a few questions about your book. I enjoyed a lot of poems from your book. They had a lot of personal meaning for me. Did you have any special poems or any sort of inspiration for any of your poems that you want to share with our viewers?
All of the poems had, different origins probably. Many of them are memory poems that have to do with my family or my community. Some of them are poems that come from experiences in nature. Others of them are responses to things that are happening in the world. Some of them are somewhat political. And I think some of them came also from dreams.
Okay.
So, a lot of different origins.
Do you have any favorite ones from this book?
Do I have any favorite ones from that book? I think terrible to say without the book in my hand, it's hard for me to remember what's in that book. But I think, for example, the title poem, Absentee Indians, is one that's kind of special to me because it was written at a time when I'd been away from home for a while, off the reservation. I'm from White Earth Reservation, and I'd been living off the reservation, and it kind of dawned on me that I was an absentee Indian. I was voting absentee in tribal elections. I was off the reservation more than I was home, and it was kind of a frightening thought. And so part of that whole book is working through what does that mean, and how do I continue to contribute to the community even though I'm living off the reservation. And so maybe that one is one that still resonates a lot.
Okay, very cool. Do you do a lot of readings all around the country? Is there any certain area that you try to stay around, or?
I do a lot of readings. Actually, this year I've been saying, how can I be a writer if I don't have time to write? But I in the last 3.5 weeks, I've done 7 readings.
Wow.
So it's a lot. Plus I'm teaching at UW-Milwaukee, so keeping all of that going is hard. But I also enjoy readings because I get a lot of energy from the audience, and conversations are also things that lead to new work. But I do readings not just, in the Midwest. For example, this fall I was in the Kingdom of Bahrain, where they're having a revolution right now. I was in that very city. The square where they faced off, I saw that from my hotel room.
Wow.
So I've traveled many different places. That's one of the most interesting. Indonesia, France, Norway, the UK, Germany. I mean, I've done a lot of readings other places in the world too, but I do read a lot in Indian country, both here and in Canada. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Very busy.
Yeah.
Do you remember reading where someone's cell phone was going off?
It would have been mine. It was at Little Rock,
Okay.
and it was a conference there, and it was reading at this art gallery, and a good friend of mine was traveling for the first time after having a stroke. So he hadn't showed up, and I left a message saying, we're going to dinner, but call me when you get in, and we'll find a way for you to get there, et cetera, et cetera. And then we went from dinner to the reading, never turned it off, left my bag at my seat, was up there reading my own work, and a cell phone goes off. And people are kind of looking around like, who could be so rude, right? And it dawned on me, it was me. And I had to stop in the middle of the poem and say, that's my cell phone. And then I had to instruct someone who was sitting close by my bag to get it and turn it off. But it's all on tape somewhere. And then I had to, do it over, but it was very embarrassing,
Wow, well, thank you so much for spending your time with me, Wawanan. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you. Bye-bye.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to viewers about what you're doing with your poetry and things like that, and what it means to you to be able to create that and share it?
Well, I think I've realized that it's sort of the center of my life now, that much of how I express what I'm going through myself, or what I see happening with other people, or the way that I try to influence anything in the world has started to mainly be funneled through the craft of writing. So I mentioned, I think, during the reading, one instance which was a reaction to the school shooting at Red Lake and a critique of our federal government that didn't react to it. But there are other instances where, I do write about environmental issues and so on. So for me, I guess it is a way that I am attempting to make changes. So I think about, it's also obviously, it's an art, so I try to have my work both be affective and effective. So be beautiful as poetry, but also do something in the world. So I have both of those goals. Not saying that I always achieve them, but that's what I'm aiming for.
This is a poem that's partly about that. And the other thing I could say about this is, when I was growing up, I used to see all those photos of my mom with one or another handsome young man who wasn't my father. So I was always curious about, who is that? What's the story? Where did he come from? What happened to him? And as time went on, I realized I had my own sort of collection of photos like that too. And this is called Your Old Lost Loves. For I have left the same handsome man standing in photos with that girl from my past, seeing them grow younger, leaner, taller each year, hearing their deep, fine words in the rustle of each fall's leaves. Together, barefoot, we walk country roads ankle deep in mud. I turn to you, young, laughing ghost. Hubba, hubba, never quite matching your daring. Ooh la la, I need those memories. 14 kids and no papa. Some lovers I know in stories, some by heart, for I stand just as you did on the same lake shore, watching darkness come, suns setting in unison, casting long shadows one after another across the years. Old lost loves, you and I, clasping identical dark hands, smelling of clay and damp pine, hearing again song of owl and loon, endless and lonesome, lingering night sounds, bouncing, echoing forever back and forth across a single lake called time. So that's one of the poems that I had a conversation with some folks about today. And then in the classroom, there was one that we talked about a little bit that is hard to explain, or it could take a long explanation, but it is about, it's about the changes and the loss that sometimes happens when we lose the spark that makes us who we are. You know how sometimes there's so many rules and constrictions that keep us from just, going wholeheartedly at something? And it has a long backstory, but it's sort of about that. It's about my sort of sadness at the thought that there are people who are so powerful and who sort of let that go, okay? And it's odd because it's also about people who maybe didn't follow the rules in a community, and for that reason were labeled something less than perfect, So I don't know. You'll have to go with me on this one. It's called Lament. For all the wild young girls, Spitfires branded, ridden like rodeo broncos through Main Street for spectacle, spurred out of the chute. As long as you live in my house, young lady, whipped passionate by forbidden young men in ponytails, bucking curfews, homework, high school dress codes, spray painting, never mind, coloring sarcasm in Avon sweet cherry lipstick, CoverGirl blue Danube eyeshadow, and Max Spec after apple candy blush, tossing manes like Rapunzel out every window, the ladder up, streaked by sun and lemon, tossing back and back, Blatz, strawberry Boone's Farm, and peppermint schnapps. For all the giddy-up girls standing in midnight dew at country kegs and blowing their youth out their nostrils, smoke signals few would understand or return. Saturday hickeys hidden beneath Sunday, turtlenecks worn like bridles, tamed, hunched guilty, waiting to make another break for it. Days passed in slow recitations, writing "I will not" 100 times, reaching for home ec recipes for a happy marriage, slip covering layer upon layer over the stains of lust, like blinders blocking daylight, smothering memory and longing. For all the prancing youthfulness of time has come undone, and women harnessed forget their firebrand madness and dance, now finely choreographed like lipizans of haute école, a waltz of age. Is this how wild girls become their mother's clone? For all the vanished rebels spending quiet guilt, forgetting small infractions of youth, the smell of musk and joy. For all the tired women wearing life like some virus they caught whose incubation was 20 years.